Okay, folks, if you decide to sell your home and cash in on that soaring value, what's the next step? Or maybe the better question is, where is the next step? Because it turns out there's some really affordable places where you could tuck your nest egg away and still live the lifestyle that you want to. And as always, there are places you should probably avoid. So here to talk about the best and worst places to buy a home right now is Uri Man. He is the Executive Vice President of Land Tejas, and he's the President of Lagoon Development. Welcome back to the show, Uri. Nice to see you again. Thanks for doing this.
Great to see you too, Ashleigh.
Okay, so let's let the cat out of the bag. Where's the most affordable place to buy right now?
Well, one of the best, most affordable markets in the United States is Houston. And today, people are looking for big cities in warm weather environments where they can enjoy great entertainment, wonderful restaurants. The people that are aging into home ownership today, Generation Z and millennials, they want to be in places that are active. And Houston offers that. In fact, the entire Sun Belt is where people are gravitating to. And Florida and Texas are two markets that have really benefited from the last tax change, the structural tax change, which makes it more beneficial to live in those states.
So I heard that Pittsburgh was the #1 place, the cheapest place to buy in America.
Well, Pittsburgh is definitely, I think it's ranked as the most affordable city in the United States to live in. It's a great city. I've been there, but it's definitely not on anyone's list to move there. And that's one of the reasons it stayed affordable. You know, during the pandemic, we had people leaving expensive coastal cities like Los Angeles and New York and moving to places like Florida and Texas. And Pittsburgh doesn't have a huge population in its downtown. It's mostly spread throughout the suburban area. So you didn't see a mass exodus of people leaving a city, going to a suburb. And certainly it's just not a city where people are looking to move today. You know, one of the things that people always pay attention to is where's the great weather? And I think Pittsburgh is one of the top 3 cloudiest cities in America, unfortunately for that. Yeah.
That's interesting. So one of the things I thought was interesting, I looked at this study from a place, an organization called Demographia International Housing. They looked at 92 different housing markets all around the world. In fact, they looked at Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Singapore, the UK, Ireland, Canada, and of course the US. I love the fact that the positive note is that the United States comes in at #1 for affordability, which is amazing. But rounding out from Oklahoma City, you saw that list, Rochester, New York, rounding out from Pittsburgh, the next one was Oklahoma City, then Rochester, New York, then Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and then St. Louis, Missouri. And I was wondering, why you think those particular cities, because I don't think I've seen those on an affordable, list before.
Again, these are cities that really have not benefited from the COVID pandemic effect. People didn't move to these cities when the pandemic hit. But I love the fact that the United States came in as one of the most competitive places, one of the most affordable places that you can buy a home. And the reason being, most people forget, is we have this great, amazing gift in the United States. It's the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which makes it extremely affordable to buy a home. And when you tell people in other countries, oh yeah, we can get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, they're like, wow, that's amazing, because a lot of countries have almost no fixed rate mortgages. They have only floating rate mortgages, which means you have no ability to plan for the future because your mortgage payment may go up. In the United States, we are affordable, and especially it's very attractive to buy a home because, cars 10 years ago cost a lot more today. Groceries 10 years ago cost a lot more today. And the same thing with rents. And if you buy a house, your mortgage payment with a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is secured for the next 30 years. That means that eventually, even if you move out, you're going to be able to charge your rent and you're going to make a profit. And so it's always a great time to buy a house. And it's one of the reasons the United States ranks very, very strongly on the affordable housing index in terms of a great place to buy a home.
We're #1. Okay, so I always love to give the bad side of the ledger as well as the good side, and thank goodness
Sure.
that we're not on this one, except for one city. The worst, least affordable places: Hong Kong, Sydney, Australia, Vancouver, British Columbia, which, by the way, is so beautiful but so expensive, San Jose, California, and Melbourne, Australia. And I'm trying to figure out if those cities will ever be affordable, or did it just toggle for last place all the time?
I don't think they'll ever be really affordable. Those places are all constrained in terms of inventory. It's very difficult to get a new building approved and built in Vancouver or San Jose. And all of the left-wing tree huggers in San Jose, they don't want to see any more development, and they're still upset that their housing prices are going through the roof. So, and there's a huge problem with that. It's a big conflict. So these cities that you just mentioned, they're just not going to have enough inventory to meet demand. So you're always going to see incredible pricing power. If you buy a house there, you're going to be paying a very high price per square foot.
Okay, I want to shift a little bit because I learned something today I did not know, and that is that Portugal is like the place to retire, to move to. The Wall Street Journal says that the retirees are moving there in droves. They've said that the numbers are crazy, like 45% up from last year, the numbers that have left, and it's almost triple the number of Americans who've gone to Portugal in just the last decade. Why?
Yeah, I was just actually in Portugal right before the pandemic. Amazing country, but let's not forget that like 10 years ago, if you ask Europeans if is Portugal in Europe, they would say no. They thought of it as like a third world country. And it's very affordable to go there and rent a place, but you have to remember, if you buy a place in Portugal or rent, you're very far away from your family and friends. The gas prices are extremely expensive. A lot of consumer goods are also very expensive. You get beautiful beaches, great weather. You can get on a train and go to all parts of Europe. It's a fantastic place. It's very popular because they have a program, they have an incentive to come there and move there. But you have to really think, are you ready for that kind of change? Because it's not America, and you have a lot of bureaucracy. That's the number one thing that people complain about when they move to third world countries. You're not looking at the United States where we try to make everything easy and we're pro-business.
Yeah, but listen to this list. Low costs of living, health care, that's government, of course, that beautiful weather you mentioned, tax incentives to move there, and it's easy to get a resident visa. All that makes perfect sense. Does safety
Great
come
wine,
into
by the way. That's some of the
factor?
best wine in the world, too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got that right. I know that. Does safety rank in there for the cost of what it how expensive it is to live in a city? Do they factor that in?
Sure, they do factor it in. I mean, you should always think about safety. I mean, one of the things that people complain about in most European cities is how dangerous the roads are, the drivers. It's just not organized. We don't have the big highway systems like you have in the United States. But safety definitely comes into play when you consider moving abroad. You want to be in a place that you feel safe. And it's tough sometimes in a foreign environment, a difficult new language. You get sick, all of a sudden you can't talk to the doctor and you can't explain what's going on. But of course, with Google Translate, almost anything is possible today. So it's for certain kinds of people. Yeah. Yeah.
Uri Man, great to see you again. Thank you. I look forward to our next visit. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.